pleasure of hosting this episode. I'm joined by Varun from Singapore, and at some point during the episode, we're hoping to have Ashwin on with us as well. So you will have a full house at some point. Just bear with us. It's a little late for Varun, so I'm going to try and get him to give you his full energy as he always does. Varun, I'm going to put some numbers in front of you. 11 years since we last won an ICC trophy, 17 years since we last won the T20 World Cup. After a heart stopping final, India are T20 World Cup champions again. Now, if that hasn't got your goosebumps up by now, I don't know what will. How is the Josh?
Dude, it is very high. And I just want to add one more stat to what you said. India has not won a World Cup in 17 hours, my friend. It's no longer 17 years. It's been broken, that curse of the finals, the semi-finals, the knockouts, the swing bowlers getting us out. Like how much we've lived through. For our listeners, this is the first time in 6+ years of the podcast that we get to come on after India has won. Like, yes, we've come on a lot after India's won in Asia Cup, but we have never done this. Like, it is a unique feeling, as DJ says. It was weird last night. Like, there was so many ups and downs, and then when India won, I kind of just sank back into my couch, and it was just relief. And then the adrenaline kicked in. Like once I realized we have won and the trophy is ours, then I got excited. So it did take me a couple of minutes, but that's the history that we've been through in the last 11 years.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to all you listeners that have stuck with us for the last 6 years. That India have gone up and down. We've had knockout losses. There have been a lot of lows. So I think this one is pretty special, not just for us, but for all our listeners as well. Because it's a little bit of a different episode because we've celebrated test match wins, we've celebrated 2 wins in Australia, but we've not got to celebrate, Varun, a multilateral ICC trophy win ever. So this one, I think, like we're there to console you when we lose, right? So the
Yeah.
20th of November, 2023, we were around. The 13th of July, 2019, we were around. But the 30th of June 2024 is a different feeling. You've woken up feeling like winners. I can see Rohit Sharma has posted a picture of him wearing his eye mask with like
I
the
just saw
World
that.
Cup trophy next to him.
Like Messi did.
Yeah, and what a year it's been. I mean, the World Test Championship final we lost. We lost the World Cup final famously, and the third format has finally borne fruit. The one that Rohit Sharma won in 2007, it was the first format that he played for India. He's now retired along with Virat. We're going to get into all of that. Varun, unbeaten run to the final.
And it's happened before. So now think about it. Like, I think it's like we've won 19 out of the last 20 games in ICC trophies in the last 6 months. That's how crazy this stat is. We lost that one game, but basically, I can't think of a team that has reached the finals of three different formats within a 12-month period. Like,
Twice in the
if
test
that,
format.
yeah, if that is not total domination, I don't know what is. So this era of players is cut from a different cloth. They are world champions today. They have been world champions in our minds for a long time. It was just about getting it over the line. And DJ, as we get into it, it wasn't an easy final for us by any means. I had given up hope.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. We'll
Yeah,
have
I
to get
had
into
given up
that.
hope. So we'll get into that. We should get into the reactions of the players, some announcements made after the game. There's too much to cover, but it is finally here. And as I see, Vishal Saxena has said, "We are champions, guys. We finally did it." That is basically summarizing how I felt yesterday. We finally did it.
Yeah, and the shortest format ended the longest wait for the Indian fans, right? Because, we were in different phases of our lives when India last won an ICC trophy in 2013, of course, the World Cup in 2011, the Dhoni era, so to speak. But this is the Rohit era. Now, Varun, of course, India made the semi-finals. I don't want to get too much into the semi-final against England. It was India did magnificently actually, and kind of pummeled the defending champions. Similar game for kind of one-sided semi-finals on both sides. Afghanistan losing very badly after a very euphoric kind of qualification into the Super Eights, for South Africa to knock those runs off and get into the finals. But then you had two unbeaten teams getting into the final. For the first time ever, you would have an unbeaten T20 World Cup champion. Was that did if you said India versus South Africa in the final, did you have a feeling that that would be the final? You would have said India, Australia, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, South Africa also has like, so spare a thought for the South African team, right? They've also got their own history that they are battling with, the same way we have battled with ours. It's just that ours has a time stamp to it. Theirs has no time stamp to it, right? So the problem or catch with selecting South Africa for a final is that they have never made it to a final, and so as just people who just enjoy the game, it's very hard to predict that they will make the final. Now, they did well. I think they had a lot of close games, man, like that Nepal game and stuff. Like, it was close. So they were a squad that I think had their weaknesses. I think if you ask me, they were one batsman short.
Let's
And
talk about that. Actually,
yeah,
that's a great point because I want to talk to you about the makeup of these teams. Now, Varun, before this World Cup started, we talked about the preview of the squad. I was like, there's so many test players in this squad. Is this the right squad we've picked? Where's Rinku Singh? We had a lot of discussion around that. We were doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. The conditions, Varun. How much did the conditions play into India's favor, firstly? Because of course you had to have bowlers that could bowl seam, you had to have spinners, you had to have batters who could play the new ball, who could like bide that time, you had to have hitters. So if this had been played say in Dubai or the UAE or South Africa, maybe it would have been a different result.
yeah, it probably would have. So the conditions, I think, I don't say they would favor India. I think in A, they were familiar to India, and B, India prepped for it. Like, if you remember that press conference when the selection happened, there were these four spinners announced, and Rohit said, It's a secret. I'll tell you later. Why should I reveal now?" And you kind of understood that, like, even in that South Africa, I think it was Nepal game or something, they didn't play the two spinners, and Markram had to come out later and say that. So, yes, the makeup of the South African team, just very quickly to end this, is I think they were a batsman short. I think generally through the tournament, Marco Jansen should have been coming in one level below. And I can see Ashwin has joined, so let's get his reaction too.
Yeah, absolutely fair. Ashwin, welcome to the show. You're a little bit
You're
soft, but
yeah, we can't hear you. You're a bit soft, but anyway, we'll keep going. And so yeah, DJ, so the thing is, as I compare the two teams, like, you've suddenly got an Indian team that bats deep now, and I think making up for some of the weaknesses, maybe at the top, some of the uncertainties rather than weaknesses, if I call it that. But I just want to call out that I'll tell you why I found this win special is because I think everybody contributed to a 10-11 match tournament. Like, we've lived through this in the past. We've lived through Shikhar Dhawan, Rohit Sharma, and Virat Kohli getting you to the semi-final, and then suddenly, your punts and your 4, 5, 6 have got no idea what to do because they've just not had enough game time. Here, there is nobody who ran away with the runs. Bumrah is a class apart, so I think he stood out, and rightly so, and we expect that from him. But even in the bowlers, like, you had Arshdeep with one of the highest number of wickets. You had Kuldeep come in and kind of turn it around. Akshar at crucial moments with the bat and the ball. So everyone chipped in, and that to me feels like, those West Indian teams that have won two T20 World Cup, where nobody is standing out as, in IPL terms, the orange cap or the purple cap, but the entire team is getting 2-3 wickets or 30-40 quick runs per person. So yeah, I just wanted to call that out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think maybe there would be an argument. Maybe Jadeja didn't really stand out, but I mean, he did his bit, right? When he had to do a little bit, he did his bit. But of course, there was a Jai Shah promise to plant the Indian flag in Barbados under Rohit Sharma's captaincy. I mean, but Jai Shah, Nostradamus, like, what a prediction!
Yeah, and then did you see Rohit after the game trying to guard on the junda? Like it wasn't going through the ground, and then the camera moved away. Like 2 minutes later, it came back, and it was a mess. The ground that ruined the ground
It
trying to
was
put
it was
that.
also awesome when like they won the trophy. Rohit literally lifted the trophy above Jai Shah's
Yeah,
head. And that was one of the greatest moments of captaincy in Rohit's career so far, I
it
would
was
say.
great.
It was unbelievable. But Varun, let's get to the game, right? Rohit wins the toss.
He remembered
First
what to
thing done
do.
right.
Yeah,
He remembered his team because he didn't change it the whole
he
tournament.
did. Yeah, he remembered his team. He remembered what to do because I saw a clip recently where he forgot what he wanted to do, and he was literally standing there on TV saying, mm. So he remembered what he wanted to do. So that was good.
Yeah, how big an advantage was that to be able to bat first, put runs on the board against a team that has a choker's tag? Now, we must clear this up to start, right? Whoever lost today would have been called a choker.
Yeah,
So, fair or unfair, whatever it is, I mean, to put those runs on the board, to get the scoreboard pressure on the other side, a big advantage for India.
I would say an advantage because again, it's such a high pressure game. I think there is an advantage of putting runs on the board. So there's no doubt of that. But um, equally so, like as the way we started, and we'll get into that. I kind of I felt it was an advantage. I think I feel like you thought it was a much bigger advantage than I did. I thought it's a good decision. I think it's the right move for us. But I mean, I've also lived through 10 wicket defeats, right, when we've batted first. So I am a bit nervous as India bats first because I just get this feeling that sometimes the bowlers, if if the game starts getting away from you, then your shoulders kind of droop. And again, we've lost by 10 wickets twice in the last two World Cups. So that was playing on my mind.
Yeah, but India had won a lot batting first this particular World Cup, right? So I felt that was actually the advantage. I think we'd only chased maybe against the US, if I'm not wrong, in the
Yeah,
8, 9 games that we played.
we chased very little, and so I think that played in our favor. That we knew the game plan,
Yeah,
we knew we've done it
yeah.
before. So
And so, of course, Kohli, 75 runs up until the semi final. 14 runs of 5 balls after the first over. He's just taken Jansen to the cleaners, man. We were 15 for no loss after the first over. Rohit hits 2 fours. We're feeling pretty good at that point, right? Like, it's okay. Things are going in our favor. We won the toss. Kohli is looking magnificent. Pitch was looking good as well. It didn't look like a slow pitch. There wasn't that much movement. And then Varun, everything seemed to go wrong after that reverse sweep by Rohit. He smokes one. And who is it but that man Klassen who takes that catch at square leg of Keshav Maharaj?
yeah, and Maharaj coming in to bowl that second over, I think was a great move because he got Rohit, and I think Rohit was like Rohit just didn't expect that. That was not part of the like it wasn't part of the shot. Like he did not expect that ball to go there. And then literally 2 balls later he gets punted like a just such a disgusting shot that
Yeah,
they
and
had to
why was Pant
review.
hanging around? Like it clearly
I
just
mean,
like managed to hit the full toss to Quinton de Kock somehow.
yeah,
Why
I
did he
don't
hang
know.
around?
And I can see Ashwin is also on. We're gonna give it one more go. Just Ashwin, how's I mean jumping in, how's your thoughts on 34 for 3 when we were actually 15 for
I was
3
going to say, I feel like
usually?
I missed the best part where you guys got to actually celebrate it and talk about the exciting part. I think it took me like 2 hours for my heart rate to kind of normalize a little bit. Uh, Man, 34 for 3 was weird, right? And apologies, I joined late. I'm traveling. I made sure my flights lined up so that I could get to one spot and watch it. But at 15 of the first over, you're thinking suddenly this may be a 200 pitch, and then 2 wickets fall immediately after, and you recalibrate. And obviously, that's what Kohli did too, right? I'm seeing one of the comments in the chat says we went from 5 for 3 to 34 for 3, which is slightly better, arguably, but but not great. But yeah, obviously an awful power play. And I'm sure you guys have talked, or we'll talk a little about Kohli not scoring any boundaries from the third over to the 17th over after
Yeah,
scoring
but we should
18.
talk quickly about the Sky shot, Ashwin, because you're a big Sky fan. You mentioned briefly, like, he never performed in the games that it matters. He got runs in the semi-final, to be fair, against England, a great knock of 47 that or 49 or something that he got. But how disappointed were you with that shot by Sky? I mean, it was just poor, right?
Yeah, just unnecessary more than anything, right? Like, and this is the hardest thing about T20 cricket, where the reason England in the semi-final ended up crumbling despite not having too many runs to chase, arguably, was they only know how to play one style of cricket. And that's all they do. And if they're losing wickets, they'll still keep playing it, and sometimes they'll lose by huge margins. What Virat did expertly yesterday is adjust his game to from 15 and 1 over to suddenly clamping down and saying, I will stay here till the end. And Sky unfortunately just didn't do that. Now Sky is the guy in the team who you don't expect to do that. He's playing his role, but it just felt like it was a moment where walking in, after two quick wickets, it just felt like it was a moment for him to buckle down that little bit and bat well with Kohli. And it's just unfortunate. But again, I'm not. I feel like I've come and harped on the negatives. I'm so excited and so positive. But yes, that was disappointing.
Yeah, Varun, talk to me about Akshar Patel and his knock. Very crucial, 47, quick fire, few big shots, put together that partnership, took India to 104 for three. He did this against the Pakistan team as well. We pushed him up to try sort of stabilize that innings. Were you happy with that? I think Ashwin and I had spoken about maybe Jadeja could have done that, maybe Hardik could have done that, but clearly it paid off, right? In
I
hindsight.
the second Sky got out, I was like, Akshar is walking in, and next thing you see Akshar walking in. And you said a couple of hits. I mean, he hit 4 sixes. He changed the momentum of the game. He changed the tempo. He allowed Kohli to be the number three Kohli that we know and love.
Exactly.
So he took the pressure off Kohli, and I think he played the best innings in this. The best knock in this innings. His innings for me changed the game. Like, what a guy! Like, what a, like, just set himself up to cement his place in this team, and it's just beautifully done. He can bat for you at 4 or 5, and he can bat for you at 8. It's just versatility. He's a team player, and I'm very impressed with
But
Akshay.
his day ended at -2, didn't it? Because he made 47 and gave 49.
Yeah, so we'll talk
I'm
about
not
that.
sure
That
it
was
was.
that was no, but genuinely, that more than anything, that just shows how good class it is, in my opinion. Rather
Yeah.
than, like, it's just, yeah.
We should get to that, but there's two things there. One, of course, Akshar's been fantastic throughout the tournament. Bowling wise, took a brilliant catch of Mitch Marsh as well. Mitch Marsh? Mitch Marsh. Mitchell Marsh.
Mishmash.
Mishmash. Took a
Mishmash.
brilliant catch over his head for Mitchell Marsh as well. But the way he got run out for me was appalling. Like, he just ran down the track, didn't expect Quinton de Kock to throw the ball at the non-striker there, and gets run out. And I mean, lots of us have gone through lots of trauma with Dhoni's still being shown with the Martin Guptill run out over the years. This felt like one of those game-changing moments, completely out of the blue. We'd stabilized. How disappointed were you with that kind of brain fade from Akshar, man, Varun?
I it Okay, so when it happened, I was watching with friends, and I was like, boundary great for free runs, because it hit the
Exactly. Yeah.
stumps and went. And I was like, he's definitely not out. Like, there's no way he can be out. And I don't know if Quinton took off the glove or threw it with the glove on, but it was a great throw, and I was like, Akshar is safe. And then 1 second later, they show the replay, and it's just very clearly out. There's no on the line, there's no going back and forth, no benefit of doubt, no. It was just out, and I was shocked. I just did not. It did not make sense to me, that
Yeah.
that dismissal.
It was a really poor piece of cricket at a critical moment. Ashwin, talk to me about Dubey. Under pressure coming into the final, out for a first ball duck in the semi-final. How good was Dubey in that knock?
Yeah, and to walk in after Akshar has made 47 of 31, got up to an absolute brain fit. I was the opposite of Varun. I knew immediately in watching real time that he had not made it back. He was kind of dawdling. He didn't look like he was trying to get in full. Suddenly he's tried to pick up speed. So I knew immediately he was out. I was watching with my dad, or our dad, who was like, it's gone for 4. That's great. I was like, no, I'm almost sure he's out. And then they showed the replay. But DJ, we being the cricketing fraternity is awfully critical of Dubey. Awfully critical of Dubey. And I'm trying to remember the exact score when he walked in. He was 106 for 4. And, hit 3 boundaries and a 6, made 27 runs. I think it, in a situation where 106 for 4 can become 125, 130 all out, there were some questions about Dubey walking in ahead of Hardik. Probably lefty, righty, fine, you get all that. But Dubey was good, man. You give it to him. You give it to him. We give our players a lot of hate or a lot of, maybe not hate, but negativity when they have tough days. He was good. That's a good knock. That's a decent knock when you need it. I mean, arguably you want Dubey and Virat's partnership to have left a little bit more room for Hardik, and that was the only frustration. But no complaints. It was good, important runs under pressure.
Yeah, excellent. And you talked a little bit about this before, Ashwin. Virat his gears went up. His gears then went down. He was 50 of 48, right? Before he unleashed. If he'd got out 50 of 48, would we be having a very different conversation here, Varun?
I do think that acceleration helped a lot in just basically making it, I would say, acceptable, because it was still under 130 strike rate. So it just made it acceptable. But given again that the reality is, given where we were at 30 for 3, I think it was a fantastic knock.
Just wait 1 second. Are we still live? Because it doesn't seem to be. I think someone else is logged into the studio, perhaps.
I can see we're still live.
Okay, let's keep going. Because it asked me to go live on my screen. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're still live.
Just keep going.
We'll keep going. Yeah.
Okay,
so I was saying that anyway, it's done. Like, I think there would have been criticism. I think we would have all been here thinking who's and ahs and ifs and buts, and why did he do that, and it was out of form. And I would have been saying he should have batted at 3, but they stuck with it. He knew how to accelerate. Dravid and Rohit had been doing what kind of Imran Khan did with Wasim before the final, right? Which is, I just want him to bowl fast. Both of them are talking to the media in their own ways and saying, I don't want to jinx it, but a big one is coming. I don't want to say anything, but a big one is coming. So they did it in their own way. He stood up. He delivered as he usually does. And yeah, all's well that ends well.
Yeah, I mean, he ends up winning the man of the match, but there was not a lot left for Hardik, not a lot left for Jadeja. 176 for 7. Ashwin, winning total, highest total in the World Cup final. But was it a winning total in your mind at the
I think the
halfway
message
mark?
I sent at that point was 10 runs short. And it ebbed and flowed, right? At 15, like I said, at 15 in the first over, 200 looks doable. Suddenly 3 wickets fall, Kohli buckles down, and you don't know. It did not look like a very difficult wicket during our first innings, but you believe when Kohli is batting at a run a ball, it was probably harder. It was probably not coming onto the bat in a way that we can't always tell on TV. And then he started accelerating late, and Dubey started hitting. You're like, maybe the pitch isn't that bad. And of course, we later established, now maybe it flattened out over the course of the game, etc. But to answer your question, 10 runs short, I think, was the reality. Now, that 10 runs, there's World Cup final pressure that probably adds 10, 15, 20 runs to any chasing side's total, which is more the psychological effect. But on paper, 176 was a little short.
And you have to give credit to the South Africans. They fielded like absolute demons. They caught everything. They had runouts. They bowled well. Nokia, Maharaj, I think, were the standouts. Let's just talk about the first wicket. Risa Hendricks. Jasprit Bumrah, averaging 8 this T20 World Cup at that point. Steaming in from the Malcolm Marshall end. Now, we haven't had the pleasure of watching Malcolm Marshall bowl because he was before our time, but supposed to be one of the greatest. Like, anytime you talk about like a all-time great 11, Malcolm Marshall's name always comes in. But on 4 years ago, when Bumrah had played 8 test matches, had picked Bumrah as an all-time great for India.
Vision. What do I
Not
say?
just
But
all-time
that
all-time
vision-
test great, I think.
Visionary.
That
I mean,
ball
who's
to
I
Dude,
mean, who's
Risa Hendricks
I
is.
mean,
I'm getting
who's right?
goosebumps thinking of it right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just all for our listeners, just listen to me, and in 4 years, something I'm saying, you all will end up agreeing with me. But I mean, he's just been so fantastic that you don't know. Like, you're always feeling like, can I just save him for the last overs? Can I like not use him too early? But the game plan was set. He delivered. He's actually delivered every time the ball has been thrown to him. I just, I've said this a few times. I just don't think he's playing on the same planet as everyone else. I think
He's
he's
the
elevated
absolute
himself.
cheat code, right? He's the cheat
Yeah,
code. Ravichandran Ashwin, who, I mean, he's pretty good at cricket, calls Jasprit Bumrah the cheat code at cricket. And it's
yeah,
like, when you used to play like EA cricket and you would like set the ball to swing away and see him in. He's literally doing that in real life. And like, how do you play that? You're Risa Hendricks, haven't got runs this tournament. He's hit 1-4, bang, Bumrah takes you out.
yeah.
Markram comes in, hits 1-4, goes after a wide one. Ashwin, Rishabh Pant hasn't had the best last couple of games behind the stumps. In fact, the ball before Risa Hendricks got bowled, he let a bye of Quinton de Kock, or leg bye, which could be a tactical leg bye, I guess, where because Risa Hendricks got out the next ball. But he takes the catches that counted, right? He takes the one off Arshdeep, wide one. How disappointed would the South African captain have been to leave South Africa 12 for 2, chasing in a World Cup final at that point?
Yeah, again, it's part of the ebbs and flows of this game. At that point, you're thinking, oh, okay, this is a tough wicket. I know it was a bad shot, to be honest. Arshdeep bowled kind of wide outside the off stump. He swung at it, got a nick. I don't. It was a sort of a most. I'm being harsh to Rishabh, but it was a pretty routine catch. If he's not taking that catch at this level in a World Cup final, then there's a different discussion to be had. But yeah, incredibly disappointing. Now, I think Varun said before the tournament, part of why you don't write off the South African side is their middle order, and we were including Markram at that point, but Markram, Klassen, Miller, and Stubbs are potentially some of the best 3, 4, 5, 6 in the world. So yes, Markram would have been disappointed leaving them at 12 for 2, but obviously, as we know, it ended up playing out. He knew he had the firepower to come, and so not ideal. As a skipper, you want to be making runs in the final. His counterpart didn't on the other side, and neither did he, and it's kind of disappointing for both of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, and at 12 for 2, Indian fans are feeling pretty good. We're pumped. We're going, okay, we can do this. Bumrah's bowled 2 overs, Rashid's bowled 2 overs. And then the trump card for India should have been the spinners, right? Akshar comes in 5th over, Varun. Um, and Tristan Stubbs, Delhi blood, DC blood, as usual. Um, who Kuldeep had refused to bowl to, by the way, in the DC nets. Probably preparing for this tournament. Stubbs just like took us apart. Like, I mean, it took Akshar apart. They were going at over 10 runs and over, both Kuldeep and Akshar. And that middle over that India so dominated with that stranglehold, it felt like South Africa had worked out a way. They were moving around their crease. They'd worked out a way on how to neutralize India's spinners, which we hadn't really come across in the latter stages of the tournament played in the Caribbean, Varun. So,
And Varun, if it helps you, spin was 9 overs, 1 for 106.
Yeah, I was just
wow.
looking at the
I
individual
was
economy
doing the
rates of
math.
12, 11.2, and 12.2, which basically is averaging closer to 12. And they just found a way, man. Now, I don't know if the pitch changed. I don't think the South African spinners bowled that well. I think I can't give. I think I credit Keshav Maharaj for putting his hand up and bowling the second over, but I can't say that it was the spin that got him the wickets. It was just smart bowling, smart field setting, and silly batting. So when it came to the second innings, you thought that yes, DJ, like you rightly said, this was it because we are going to kill them in the middle overs, and they're going to be 8 down at the end of 15, and then Bumrah and Arshdeep are going to finish it off. But De Kock, I think, has found form just in the last 3 games, so just in time. So that was worrying me. Second, I think Tristan Stubbs is batting at the right position. All through the IPL and even earlier in this tournament, I feel like he's got a decent technique and he is a great number 4. And I think they started batting him there. So I got a little worried then. And and then basically, man, when Klassen came out, as I was saying when Ashwin joined, it just looked too easy. There were some offside sixes that he was hitting. I mean, he hit 5 sixes. And I got really worried then.
No, but Ashwin, talk to me about the Stubbs dismissal. Everybody seems surprised by that. Like it was a really crazy way to get out. He got out to Akshar eventually, but was it surprising to you as well?
I mean, I don't think so. I think when he got out, he was just playing the role, knowing that they had Miller still to come, etc. He was just playing the role to go after it. And I think they were saying if we take, which again, South Africa did, they took the game to a point. I don't remember the exact win probabilities, but they took the game to a point where they should have won it. It went from being to 12-2, it's kind of India's game to lose, to whatever 30 of 30ish. It's South Africa's game to lose. And so I think their game plan was once you have Klassen striking the ball nicely, Tristan looked good, got promoted to 4. He hasn't always batted at 4 this tournament. It was just he had a game plan. He had to go after it, and yeah, he swung and he got bowled, but it was a good. I think that there was merit to the game plan. You don't sit here saying if Stubbs had stayed longer, maybe they would have won.
Yeah, so let's go into a quick break because I want to come back to the Klassen bit of this game, and I just want to come back to the reactions and what happened afterwards. So don't go anywhere. This is the Edges and Sledges Cricket podcast, and you're listening to us talk about India's win. India are now T20 World Champions. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we'll be back straight after this break. Welcome back from that break, and you're still listening to the Edges and Sledges Cricket podcast. Henrik Klassen, one of the world's best T20 batters, has just walked in. He's just smoked Hardik Pandya over cover for a 6, which is like a tennis shot. It's just looking too easy for him at that point, right? So Klassen and De Kock batting together. De Kock smokes a 6 of Arshdeep. Rohit brings Arshdeep back, he goes for 6. And the next ball, kind of another brain fade, Varun, from De Kock. I've never really been worried about De Kock finishing a game for his side. Somehow, he's going to do
Yeah,
something a little bit
agree.
odd.
And that's why the order kind of made sense. So yes, I think a brain fade, but you're absolutely right, DJ. His role is not to finish the game. That's why they've got him to bat the way he does. They've got Stubbs up there, and then you've got the two superstars, right, Miller and Klassen,
And,
to
and you
finish
know
this off.
why? And you know why? Like I'm sitting there, Varun. Do you remember 2018 Joburg? The two
Yeah,
guys
yes.
that
I mean,
we
that's when
watched.
we became a fan of Klassen, right? Because the hitting, I had not seen that kind of hitting. So it 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 basically,
It was
yeah,
Klassen and Miller. It had to be those two guys.
it always had to be. So after De Kock got out, basically that was when you come back to that point of everyone is saying one more wicket, because then you're in Jansen and Maharaj. I mean, they're not like, just to draw parallel, they're not Hardik and Akshar or Hardik and Jaddu, right? It's not the same comparison. So I do feel that they were short, and there there was this one Akshar over. I can't remember how many he went for, but
24. But
24.
we'll come
And
to it because to my mind, I would have thought wrist spin would be the way to go. Like Kuldeep would have been the trump card against them. But Kuldeep kept going for runs. They kept smashing him. And
yeah,
then the 15th over, you bring Akshar in, and it was 54 to get of 36 balls.
yeah.
Ashwin, did your heart sink when you watched Akshar Patel go for 24 runs? I went back to the Dhoni over where 4 sixes in a row.
I mean, jokes aside, this sounds like a negative in cricket fact, but at 54 from 36, we are traveling as a family right now. We had delayed dinner plans. We were like, all right, we have to stay, watch this through. At 32 from 30 is what it became. I said, let's get ready. Like this is going to be done in 5 minutes. I was like, you do not expect at 32 from 30
No, it
balls.
was 30 of 30. It was 30
30
of
of
30.
30.
Yeah.
Right? With 6 wickets in hand. 6 wickets in hand at that point. You do not expect to win. And like the win is and the win probabilities and all that. But 30 of 30. I was the one who told my family, like, let's start getting ready. It's time to go out. We might as well. We're not going to not watch the end of the game, but I really thought it could be done in 2 hours.
Varun, it was like 1 o'clock at night for you, right? Like 3% probability of winning. Did you turn the TV off?
I haven't turned the TV off since 22nd March, bro. Like, once we finish this podcast, I'm going to sleep and I'm going to wake up in September, I think. Like, that's how tired I am. But I did not switch off the TV.
And you're glad then that you
No,
didn't.
I would have never switched
Would have
off.
been
So,
fair.
so basically, this is where I feel that I have to give credit to Rohit Sharma, because I'm going to say controversial, but I think if Kohli was captaining, like, you potentially would have had a Siraj coming in the next over, and he would have been like, Mia, like just I can't say it on screen right now, but he would have basically just said, run through them and unko khatam kar de and this kind of stuff. And then Siraj would have come in steaming and got hit for like 16 runs in that over. So I just feel that I do want to give credit to Rohit Sharma because 30 of 30, it was done. Honestly, I was telling my friends who I was watching with, said they should not even be lifting the bat to their waist level. Okay, when it's 30 for 30, you should literally be playing as we are known, one tip, one hand. You should be blocking it and running.
Tip
Like
and
that's
run, yeah.
all.
Tip
That's
and run.
all you need to do. You should not even be raising the bat to your waist cut level. And they
Yeah.
couldn't.
It was 27 of 28 at one point. So there was fewer runs to get than balls remaining at one point. And Bumrah comes in. He had to come in over earlier. Rohit had no choice. He absolutely had to bring him in. Bumrah stems that flow after the 24 run over. He goes for 4 runs because they've decided Bumrah's got 12 balls left. We cannot lose a wicket to him.
And we also, and similarly, Rohit says, I cannot lose this game with Bumrah having another 3 balls left to bowl.
Absolutely. Then comes a moment of genius. Of course, we've talked about Gulbuddin Naib going down with his hamstring and all of that stuff, right? Rishabh Pant, who's come back from a massive injury, a huge accident, car accident, suddenly has a problem with his knee. It's quite possible. He's had knee construction, surgery, all of that. It takes 3 or 4 minutes out of the game. It breaks the rhythm of the South African batters. And it gives India that breathing space to just come down. Rohit has a chat with the boys, gives the ball to Hardik. Hardik bowls a wide off cutter, clips it to Rishabh. Klassen hits it to Rishabh. Ashwin, how amused were you to watch Rishabh Pant hobble after that catch? Tell
I
me.
mean, it was fabulous because you sit there and the scorecard, if you look at a scorecard, that wicket will always be next to Hardik Pandya's name. But that wicket belonged to, as yes, Hardik gets credit, but Jasprit for a 4 run over after 24. And Rishabh. And you could argue with the spirit of the game and this, that, and actually, I don't actually know if he needed any strapping or needed a change of his strapping and all that. But it's moments like that. It happens all the time. The commentators, cliches, the drink after a drinks break or after a strategic timeout in the IPL, etc., is when a wicket falls. He created that. It takes that game on-field awareness to just they're dominating. They've hit 24. Now they've got a 4 run over. Now they're thinking about
26 of 24.
They're saying, okay, 26 of 24. Bumrah's got 6 left. I have to go after the 2 Hardik and 1 Arshdeep if that match checks out overs. Yeah, they're thinking about that. And Hardik comes in, and Pant is like, just give it a couple minutes. Let them sit there. Let them, Klassen and Miller at that point, be thinking about every time South Africa has gotten close before and choked. Let them be thinking about, we are the only 2. This is reality, right? This is why the mentality of the game is so hard. Miller and Klassen had 3 extra minutes to think, we're looking at
history.
First guys to ever
30 years.
let South Africa
32
win
years.
World Cup. I mean, they just stood in that, and then he got a wide one, and he swung at it and got out. So it's amazing.
Do you think Pant saw Jonathan Trott being like,
yeah,
standing on the sideline?
If Pant had done this celebration, would have been the best at the end. Just
no, but it goes to 26 of 23. The rest of the overs okay. It goes to basically Arshdeep bowls a fantastic 4 run over. 4 runs. Arshdeep bowls a 90th over. Bumrah comes back. Miller at this point is the man that's got to do the job for them, right? Like he has to do it. Jansen's come in. Miller gives Jansen the strike. And to me, that was the biggest mistake of that whole game. Because I'm like, Jansen is not going to be able to keep out a man. It's an irresistible force met by an object that has a big hole in it. Literally.
And physics metaphor, dude.
And that ball from Bumrah, it had to be full. It had to be straight. Jansen's not even trying to score a run of it. It's gone through him. It's burst through his defenses. And it's bowled him. And then Keshav Maharaj keeps out 2 balls, but he takes a single off the last ball. Miller at that point has to say, I'm the guy, I'm going to do it. And he's off strike again.
But
And then
that's when that
Arshdeep,
mentality of not believing you can do it kicks in, right? Miller's like, I'd rather take the 1 run than think I can finish it off.
yeah, again, it feels like we're watching a T20 game, but it feels like a test match that's played out over days, like you're living every moment, right? Okay, Arshdeep 4 run over, fantastic. Miller can't get it away. Keshav Maharaj can't get it away. Arshdeep fielding brilliantly. At one point, I think he went up like 8 feet in the air to stop one that was going over his head. That leaves Varun. Long story short, everyone's watched the game. I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you watched the game. 16 of 6. This is the first redemption arc I want to come to. After all the chat in the IPL, all the booing, the Gujarat fans, the Mumbai fans booing him at the Wankhede for replacing Rohit Sharma as captain of the Mumbai Indians, which is utterly fair. If you're a captain of a franchise, you move as the captain of another franchise. It was somehow quite satisfying to see Rohit Sharma say, Hardik, जी ले अपनी जिंदगी, win me the
Yeah.
World Cup.
Yeah. It was. Look, we were doing the math and it was always going to be Hardik bowling that last over. So it as he kind of stood at the top of the mark, you could see the nerves and the nervousness. And as we talk about it, the over, you'll see that in the first ball as well. There was just way too many nerves for Hardik at this point. And you look at his journey since December or Jan, since it was announced about Mumbai Indians, man, the hate he got has not been warranted at all. At all. So all of us are hoping against hope that not only does India win, but that Hardik is the hero because he's performed very well throughout the World Cup. But
He's
you
already
give,
got Klassen. He's already got
yeah,
Klassen.
and
Remember,
you
he's opened the
give
door. He's opened the door.
and you give 17 on that over, you're finished, man. You're not getting any sympathy yet. And let's talk about that first ball. It was a low wide full toss. And I want to describe how I saw it because I'm not sure if every channel showed it the exact same way, but low full toss that got smacked in the air, that looked like it was going for a six from the second it left the bat. And then suddenly, in my camera angle, you had Sky coming in to take it, and then the camera kind of doesn't show
Because he goes
anything.
behind the side screen. Disappears
And
behind the side screen.
then he comes out, and I was like, "This is like some Sanju Ratan level Jojita shit." Okay, where it's like change the gear, and
Change
like
again, Sanju.
literally you couldn't see Sky. You thought he's like collided against the wall outside the boundary, and just like he comes out from that side, it was something else.
What a fucking time to pull out a catch like that. They practice this over and over again. But to do it, this is, I mean, of course, the Kapil Dev catch is immortal, right? Running backwards, taking We've Richard in 1983. This catch will be talked to in the same breath because he has caught it. It's an impossible catch to take because he's running full tilt, as you said, Varun. He's running full tilt towards the ball. He's taken the catch. He's had the presence of mind to realize his body's going to go over the boundary. He's just tossed it up perfectly enough inside the boundary. He's gone out. He's come back in. It is a magnificent feat of athleticism. And it's fitness, it's fielding. Ashwin, did you see Dilip, the fielding coach? There's like a view of him when the catch is taken. And I mean, all the stuff about the fielding medal. Surely this makes all those hard yards worth it. This is what Kohli was talking about. Do the practice to take that catch. And I mean, what a time to do it. What
I
a
mean,
man
you
to
should
do it.
just give Sky the fielding medal from here on in perpetuity. Like there's no topping that. And it's a lot of guys have started being able to take those catches where instead of falling over, you do. But that was the difference. That was it. I mean, jokes aside, and no discredit intended for Hardik Pandya, it was a horrendous delivery, dude. You cannot bowl a full toss outside off stump to Miller and on the first ball of the last over. You just can't. And I thought best case scenario in that situation, Sky manages to palm it back in and save the six. And then they probably get two. You're talking about 15 needed off 5, but still have David Miller, one of the world's greatest finishers. making it 16 off 6 would have become 14 off 5. We then ended up 16 off 5 with 2 tailenders. That was it. That was the game. That was the game right there.
Yeah, 16 of 6 would have become 10 of 5, right?
I'm sorry, math is hard. No, I'm saying I would think he would have palmed it back.
Oh, if he'd got it back in, okay.
But
yeah,
not,
yeah.
but to actually be able
But
to.
I don't think
re-catch
Miller
it.
got all of it, to be honest. Like, it didn't seem like he got all of it, because when
No,
Miller
he
hit it,
didn't.
there was a lot on the roof yesterday, actually.
It just, I mean, I'm reliving it right now, but it was a half an inch from the rope. That's what this game came down to. Because if he had grabbed it and there was any movement on the camera off the rope, then to your
That's
point,
sick.
10 of 5, Hardik bowling, Miller on strike. It's back. I don't know. I don't have the win with math, but the probability factor probably swung drastically back in. That was it. This was the game for me.
Yeah, I mean, an unbelievable catch at that point. And I think I'm reliving it. And there was a point at which when it went up, because we all saw it go into the sky. We didn't see anything else happen. And then there was sky underneath it. There was sky above and sky below. And the whole of India was at one point, I think, diving towards the TV trying to catch that ball.
But it was like that Srishant.
The Srishant catch, yes!
It looked like a 6, and suddenly Srishant is like at the 30-yard circle and it's fallen into his hands.
Yeah, because it's that same perspective. Ball goes up, and in the crowd, you probably knew it. You can see the depth. But on TV, you have no idea.
And I'm sure the camera guy in that last over is like taking the camera even further up, right? It's like, let's add to the drama.
And Ian Smith on comms, I mean,
Barest
unbelievable. It literally was the barest imagine. Anyway, Miller's gone, drama, third umpire, blah, blah, blah. He hangs around. Rabada comes in. Rabada can hit a long ball as well. So let's not get that wrong. Edges 1 goes for 4. Hardik bowls a wide. Then you come down to 9 of 3, right? And he just needs to get it, not go for a boundary at one point. 9 of 2. He just needs to not go for a boundary at one point. He bowled a wide before that. And then there's a catch. And India have won the World Cup. Hardik Pandya is running in to bowl the last ball with tears in his eyes. Rohit Sharma has fallen to the ground. Virat Kohli is losing it. All of India is broken. Yes, it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't last ball like Srishant. But they've only scored 22 of the last 30 balls. And that's because India have a genius in Jasprit Bumrah. To me, he was the man of the match. He's got that aura. I mean, of course, Kohli won it because sometimes you get the guy who scored the maximum number of runs. The most times IPL or T20 teams give the guy who scored the maximum number of runs the trophy. India have won the World Cup. The long wait has ended. Ashwin, I know you've got to drop in a couple of minutes. Kohli and Rohit bow out together. Bittersweet.
When I saw one of the tweets that I saw that brought it to life, most we would have seen a million of them. But it was that what it took ultimately for India to win this World Cup was to sacrifice 2 goats. And that is a great line on so many levels. But they're two of the greatest that this country has ever seen. They're still playing. They're still going to play lots of Test cricket. Varun, we're going to be able to watch them in Perth and stuff. Like, they're going to be unbelievable for us for Test cricket for the future. Probably even ODIs for a while. I think we all came into this tournament sort of knowing they would bow out. It would have been much more upsetting to bow out in a loss, obviously. And maybe they would have tried to stretch it on a little longer if there was a loss. I mean, it's just after 11, if you count the Champions Trophy, 13 years of heartbreak repeatedly. This is it. I mean, it rings of Sachin winning the 2011 on his way out of his ODI career. It just, this is it. Virat, the T20 is basically now the biggest, most popular format in the world. Virat and Rohit had not lifted a trophy.
Rohit had.
I guess Rohit had, but Rohit not a skipper.
2007.
And I mean, there's no word. I mean, the Sid Monga articles on Cricket for putting poetry to it, etc. We don't have that kind of way with words. I don't have the gravitas to describe it, but it just felt like poetry. It felt like perfection. It felt like, and it didn't happen easy. It wasn't a 10-wicket victory like the semi-final, or not a 10, but a huge victory like the semi-final. It was hard. It was a heartbreak almost there, and then recovery. I think what epitomized it for me was when the winning moment happened, as the captain, Rohit didn't run to his coach, run to his teammates, run to the picture, pull. He just kind of fell to the floor, and that's the like emotional burden you've been carrying just kind of suddenly drop, and you just feel light, and he just dropped to release all that pressure. That's what it was. But
And that's the second redemption arc I want to come to, Varun. Of course, Rohit captained India in that unbeaten run to the World Cup ODI World Cup final in November last year. To get yourself back up after all that's gone on during the IPL, to lead a team, to put the team before yourself, to get others convinced that you have to back the team. Not Kohli's won two man of the tournaments at T20s. He's won one at the ODI World Cup, but he hasn't lifted the trophy since. To convince others to say, you do what I tell you to do and let others do their job. That takes quite something to
Yeah,
sacrifice yourself.
and that's teams who win the World Cup. That's basically what they do. Everyone has their role. Everyone's following a vision, a leader, and that leader has to set the tone for everything. So whether it's playing attacking cricket by himself or giving everyone a very specific role or niche that they need to play, it's just it's great. Like I think Rohit Sharma deserves a lot of credit as captain.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that as it comes. I think the emotions are still pretty raw. I think heart rates are still coming down slowly. The other redemption arc, Varun, this is played in the West Indies and the USA. Rahul Dravid is stepping down as the Indian coach. He was the captain of the Indian team that got knocked out in the first round, in the qualifying round in 2007, the year India won the T20 World Cup. Life's gone full circle again.
Yeah, it's been really full circle for him. Here's a player who, when the T20 format was introduced, like he was the anti of a T20 player, and to not only win it in that format in which he's not known for, but to do it in the West Indies, it it really was full circle. I could not be happier for Rahul Dravid. I've seen too many Shahrukh Chakde memes and posts. Like it's exactly the same. Man, this is a guy who deserved a trophy. Not all great sports people get a trophy, but I'm just so happy. And at the end, when we saw Kohli kind of going up with the trophy to Rohit Sharma, and I feel like he said, "Come on, go crazy," right? And Kohli and not Rohit Sharma, Kohli and Rahul and Kohli have played together in the same team, right? I feel like he just said go crazy, and I think Rahul Dravid just went crazy. He just lifted that cup, and what you saw there was probably about 16 seconds of raw emotion before he kind of calmed down and collected himself and passed the
Barbados
trophy.
ka gunda.
Yeah, Indira Nagar and Barbados ka Gunda. Like it was fantastic to see.
I mean, what a contribution he's had. I mean, to be he's lost one game in the last two World Cups.
Yeah,
What a contribution that is. I mean, that is unbelievable. Leading the team into the World Test Championship final as well. I mean, this could have been the Holy Trinity within like a span of 15 months, Varun. Let's not get this wrong. World Test Championship final, ODI final, and T20 final in like what is it? 10, 12, 14 months. Last year was the World Test Championship final, right? Like this could have been a legacy defining year for the Indian cricket team. It may have to wait till 2027, as I think Rohit and Virat have both announced their retirement to stay fit for the ODI White Ball World Cup, having won this. Jadeja, I believe, has also announced his
yeah,
T20I
just a
retirement.
couple of hours back.
De Kock is finishing off as well.
Yeah, Warner has as well.
Warner has finished off as well. So there's been a lot of change in
This
the
is what
world order.
happens, man. You get these like under 19 guys. 15 years ago, they all come in together. Out of 15 of them, 7, 8 really make it. And then just this is how it works, man. Like in 2014, Sangakkara and Jayawardene won the 2014 T20 World Cup, and they brought out of the game together. This is just how it goes. Kohli said it first. Rohit let him have his half an hour, announced in the press conference later. The same thing 24 hours later. Jaddu has done it. So I genuinely think that the time is right. I don't think anyone will feel sad that they're leaving. I think you you know that it was coming. You are happy that they've got what they wanted and they deserved, and now they are leaving on a high. And the future is so great that a lot of us had been already questioning why they've not left. So it's in safe hands, and it just to me it was right time, right place. This is the time to announce it. So it was great.
See, I could talk to you for the next 4 hours, relive this final ball by ball, right? I could, and what's going to come next. But the one thing that you mentioned was Mahela and Sangha, and I think Rohit and Virat have now lifted themselves to that level of bromance,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
it's beyond I'm captain, you're captain,
Yeah,
I'm this, you're that. It's what is best for the team,
yeah,
and their fans will clash. You've got the Rohitians versus the Viratians or whatever that is. That's just Twitter nonsense. They too have come together to win the cup for India, and I think they will try to do that in 2027 again. We should be privileged to be living in this era of Roko and Bumrah. I think, yeah, Bumrah ko koi roko, because
yeah.
at the
I was
moment
just gonna
it's
say
not.
that's a good hashtag.
Yeah, at the moment it's absolutely impossible. But I mean, it feels so good to be able to celebrate this after, and and now the 30 from 30, I think really the winning from there. Of course, the South Africans will be devastated by that, but their time will come, as somebody said. But I think it also now really it's made those expectations completely unrealistic, because that's not a game you win
Yeah,
97% time of the time, right?
especially when it's been so easy in the last 3 overs before that to hit 15, 20 runs per over.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah, they
fantastic,
got
man. And
38 runs of the last 2 overs before that.
yeah,
Before it all
exactly.
went
Uh, and
pear
they
shaped
got
for them.
6 of the last 2 Bumrah overs. So
That's unbelievable.
anyway,
But
it's just fantastic, man.
yeah, Varun, thank you so much for staying up late, joining me for this. We will take a break next week because we do need to catch our breath. It's been non-stop since the start of the IPL. I think take a moment, savor the moment, enjoy the moment. This, for all the disappointments we have, these are the times we get to enjoy being Indian cricket fans. We're not the world's most pleasant fans sometimes. It's hard. It's hard to be an Indian cricket fan. I, at one point, was thinking, how would I go into work on Monday after having lost this game? How do you explain another loss? Luckily, we don't have to. So, really hold your heads up high. And the next time the Indian cricket team don't do well, remember the 30th of June 2024 and how that this team has made you feel today, right? On that note, this has been the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast signing off. We will be back in 2 weeks' time. Until then, take care and we'll see you soon.